Hi, and welcome to Ruby's Ask Me Anything office hours. I'm your host today, Dan Marek, Director of Plant Based Culinary. During this series, you can basically ask any culinary related question you would like to if you're in the Ruby platform and the class is live. If you're viewing it through our platform, just click on the right hand side box where it says Add a Question. Ask any question you'd like that's culinary related. It'll go to our moderator to make sure that it fits for the appropriate theme of the day. Because I am plant based and have been for almost 28 years, I usually don't answer questions with meat related in them because it's not my area of expertise. So if you did enter a question like that, it'll go on to our next series or our next instructor that is actually answering those, or you will be sent to our help desk to be able to get your question answered. But for today, if you have a question, just type it in and then hit the add button. If you see a question on the right-hand side that looks intriguing and you want to be able to have it answered first, you can click on the heart button. We don't have a lot of questions today, so it should go pretty quickly. And sorry, I do have a bit of a cold, so I might sound a little different than usual, but we'll get through this together. All right, so let's get started here. Our first question is actually from Rose. And Rose asks, can you share the best way to learn the flavors of different seasons and how to use them? So, Rose, that actually depends on what region you are in and what country you're in. Guessing you're probably in the United States by most of our demographic viewers, but there are a lot of different ways to be able to look at what's in season. Now, probably the most obvious way is if you go to a farmer's market, those are going to be the vegetables and ingredients you'll see most often are the ones that are going to be in season. If you're going to a grocery store, you'll typically see them right when you first walk into the produce section because they have the most abundance at the moment, and they're also going to be the most value for your buck. It is much cheaper to grow a tomato really close to your grocery store and get it there than grow it somewhere very far south, in a different country, and then be able to get it up to your grocery store. So most often than not, you can actually just find in your grocery store kind of what's up front, and what would be in season, what's up front and what's on sale. There's usually going to be a lot of it as well. Beyond that, there are a lot of different guides out there that you can do a quick Google search on to find what is in season now, depending on where you are in the country or on the world, to be able to find what is in season at the moment, to be able to utilize in your dishes. Now, I'm a huge proponent of eating seasonal varieties of food and eating them in season because you're going to get the most bang for your buck, flavor wise, but also price wise. So, a tomato is probably the best example of this. If you think about what a tomato tastes like, maybe at this time of year in September versus what it would taste like maybe in December. I'm talking in the US as well too, but that tomato in December doesn't really kind of taste like a tomato. It tastes more, kind of like a watery, it tastes more watery than it does tomato. And then the tomato in September is going to be full of flavor and you're going to get a lot of ripeness to it. It's kind of the way, if you think about canned tomatoes, canned tomatoes are picked at the peak of ripeness. That's why so many Italian grandmothers use canned tomato, maybe the San Marzano or whatever, but they'll use the canned ones because they know that they're picked at the very peak of season. They can use them anytime they want to, and they have the most flavor out of them. So if you are eating in season, try to use your guide basically to be able to find what is in there, and then you can use those in whatever recipe you're looking to utilize those into. Now, there's such a huge variety. I can't really give you, like here's exactly what it is, but for like right now, for example, like I'm planning a picnic with my kids later today, so I took some garden fresh tomatoes and some basil from the backyard, mixed it up with some shallots that I'd been growing and some green onion and a little bit of garlic from earlier in the season. Chopped that all up and made it into something that I can put in a nice crusty bread as well. Mushrooms right now for me are kind of or well, it depends. Some of the mushrooms came out earlier, some of them coming out later. The chanterelles are really nice, and the oyster mushrooms, but the shiitakes might have been a little bit earlier in my season as well too. So depending on where you are and what zone and climate zone you're in, you're going to have different seasonality vegetables depending on what the time is. And how you use them is really kind of a mix depending on what ingredients you get at the moment. That's actually one of my favorite parts of cooking is being able to mix and match ingredients depending on what you have on hand. All right, so I hope that helps a little bit, Rose. Our next one's from Lime. Why do some potatoes have green color on their skin? Pardon me. Why do some potatoes have green color on their skin? I was able to peel it off, but are the green peels on potatoes safe to eat? Typically, no. The green peel on potatoes not good. What is happening there is it's actually the potatoes exposed a little bit to the air and sun, so that's actually a chlorophyll that's growing on the outside of the potato, which most of those um, most of the chlorophyll for vegetables is totally fine, but for potatoes, it's not. It actually contains a chemical that can be really upsetting to your stomach. So you were right in peeling off the green on the potato as well too. So peel off as much of that as you can get off, and then use the potato as you would as well. So hope that helps a little bit, Liam. Barbara, I'm about to begin a cake baking and decorating art class. Do you have any advice for beginners? All right, so an art class specifically for cake baking and decorating. So I think I saw Fran on this call. Fran is one of she's an amazing person, a good friend, but also a fantastic instructor, and leads our vegan desserts course as well too. I would highly recommend anything that she has put out there. So if you're a Ruby student, definitely go through, do a search on some of her live events. They're wonderful to be able to watch, and I guarantee you'll learn something new by watching through some of her materials as well too. So that would probably be one of the things I would recommend, just to watch Fran. Definitely take notes on some of the things she's doing as well. But specifically for decorating an art class, have fun with it, right? So there are a lot of different things in baking that you really have to follow the rules on, and you have to be very exact on. But decorating can be a little bit different. You can go outside the box a little bit. So have fun with that. Um, and just explore a little bit and see what you can do with it. Other advice on that too is don't try to buy everything all at once. So when you're doing decorating and baking, a lot of people will get a list and be like, I have to buy everything on this list. Wait for a minute to see exactly what you're going to need for the course, what things are staples that you'll use regularly, and what things you might not use regularly too as well. So only buy the things that you actually need for it. Wait for the instructor to tell you these are the items that you need to be able to do for the course as well. So hope that helps a little bit. All right, Gonzagu, would you recommend buying a robot like the Vorwerk Thermomix TM7? I have no idea what that is. I'm gonna do a quick search on this. Um, oh, okay. I have seen these before. These are, yeah. All right. So these are, it's basically a blender that cooks. These are very popular in Europe. It's, in the United States, we have Vitamix, which is a high powered blender. This actually does something very similar. It's really nice because, pardon me, it can blend down extremely well. So my perfect example of this is cashews, right? So you can soak cashews, and when you blend them, they in a regular blender that would be like a $30 blender or something, they don't blend the cashews completely to a nice smooth texture, where the Vitamix or the Thermomix would. So I've known Thermomix for a long time. I don't know exactly the TM7, but basically from what I remember seeing it in a lot of shows and stuff like that, it actually helps to cook things at the same time. So if you're really into doing soups and you want to do a hot sauce or something like that in the Thermomix, that's great. They're definitely more expensive too. So I've usually seen them to the $1,000 to $2,000 range, depending on which one you're looking at. The Vitamixes, and I'm not sponsored by Vitamix or anything, are a lot cheaper, and I love how dependable they are. So if you're looking to be able to cook at the same time you're blending, fantastic. But if you're looking just to be able to blend and completely get a smooth texture, I think the Vitamix might be really, really good for what your purposes are. Hope that helps. And Shar, another wonderful friend here we see, and fellow instructor, just got back from Italy, I remember. So, Dan, looking into the fall, what are your favorite spices, herbs be for a good squash soup? Hmm. So, I do love a good butternut squash soup. I typically will make them, every fall. I usually do like a splash of like a silken tofu, kind of a topper on it as well. But for fall, I'm usually going to go for thyme as one of my favorite herbs to be able to go into that. I also love to do sage, where I might put some sage leaves into a pan and just kind of crisp them up a little bit to be able to put some on the top. You can crunch them up if you want to, but I usually just put them on the leaves, just kind of right on the top as well too. But thyme is definitely one of those go-tos that I would typically use, especially on a good squash soup. So beyond, what I would normally put in a squash soup, like a garlic and onion and my basic, mirepoix of ingredients, a little thyme goes a long way, and maybe a little bit of crusted or sautéed sage leaves on the top for those two. I hope that helps. And welcome back from Italy, Shar. It's good to have you here. Well, that brings us to the end of all of our questions today. It was very short and sweet. Thank you for joining us and happy fall, y'all.